Well, we approach mid-morning. How are we trading? Let's go through the grain stocks and, well, the row crops to start with. We'll start with corn. You know, corn, according to USDA in the crop production summary from Friday, estimated 14.9 billion bushels, down 3% from the 2023 estimate. We'll break this down a little deeper with Dewey Strickler in just a moment, but the March contract is 4.5 higher, 475, just a tick off the day's high. December, 454.5. It's 4.25 cents higher and half penny off the day's high. What about soybeans? Well, production totaling 4.37 billion bushels, up 5%, according to USDA. And January trades 21.5 higher. We're at the top end of the range now at 1035, and the March at 1044.5, half penny off the high, is up 19.25 cents. Wheat market, we'll start with Chicago, and the July contract at 562. It's up 7.5. And what about Kansas City? We'll look at the July contract for that as well, up 6 cents, 575.25. And spring wheat front month is March, 588.5. That's up 4.25 cents. Let's roll over to the cotton market now. All cotton production estimated 14.4 million bales. That's up 19% from last year. And also yield reduced to 836 pounds per acre on the cotton. March, 67.29. It's up 28, 16 points higher, trading just above 69 cents on the December. Dewey Strickler's with AgWatch Market Advisors. A lot of numbers there, Dewey, but what really jumps out to you?
What jumps out to me here, Tony, is no one's mentioned about the demand in the report here. Yeah, we had our yield reduced more than expected. USDA was a bit over ambitious during the growing season on that, but when you look at a yield of 179.3, that's still a record. The thing that caught my attention right off the bat is that when you look at global usage, it was virtually unchanged. Usage here in the U.S. Was actually revised lower on both feed consumption and exports. And that's telling me that you're seeing some rationing here in the corn market. Other things that stuck out, and that is when you look at our trading partners, Mexico, their imports were unchanged, but they were lowered for both China, South Korea, and Japan. Also, you look at the dollar, it's at a 2.5-year high, and it's also at a historic high against the Brazilian currency. So that said, where do you think our exports are going to go? They're going to go to Brazil here. And that will probably be, fast approaching here. Also, another factor that bothers me in corn is what I see technically. You look at the momentum indicators on the weekly chart of corn, they are at 3-year highs. That's very dangerous. So that's my take on corn here. Some things that, that have not really been brought out.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. And again, one that we really don't think about Brazil as an importer of U.S. commodities, but you make a pretty good case there.
Yeah, there when you look, like I said, the Brazilian currency is at a historic low against the dollar. So you see some of this interest is going to start going here to Brazil for corn, soybeans, and it's not, that far off. Actually, when you look at the weekly sales report last week, all 3 grains were marketing year lows, and I can't remember when I've seen that.
Yeah, good point there. Okay, Dewey, hang on. We'll come back in a moment. We'll talk livestock futures as well. Market Day report continues after this. All right, so the live cattle market has gained 15.9% over the past 12 months. Over the last month, though, up nearly 3%. The feeders have been up 18% year over year, up about 4% over the past month. Now, let's break down the numbers. We'll start with live cattle in Chicago, and it's a little lower this morning, 198.42, down 35 on the February. The April contract has been as high as 199.50 this morning, has backed off of that 199.15. It's down 32. Going back to that February contract, the number we want to watch is 199.57. That was the February contract high set back September 20 of 2023. So keep an eye on live cattle and 199.57. Over on the feeder side, we mentioned it's been higher week over week, month over month, and year over year. 18% gains in the feeder cattle market. January up 22, 272.57, and 269.60 on that April. It's down 57. One more here. Hog market has seen some pretty impressive gains year over year, though this month we're down about 1%. February 83.12, it's up 57, and we've been as high as 103 on both the June and July contracts. Let's bring back in Dewey Strickler, Ag Watch Market Advisors. What catches your eye here?
When I look technically at the cattle market, Tony, the short-term pattern shows that we'll probably take a crack at a little bit above $200 on this February contract of cattle. After that, the thing that kind of spooks me, and that is the costs have risen so much here on the cattle market, and we'll probably see the cattle market break before the costs do. You know, right now cattle's gotten so high it's become a luxury item anytime you go to a restaurant. You know, so that's where we stand there.
Yeah, let's look at the 6-month on the April contract for live cattle. This really shows you what has happened over the past few months. And again, you can't argue with a chart that looks like that, but at some point, it's got to start coming back down. And I guess that's your concern, right?
Yeah, it is. And when it comes down, it could be pretty hard because the thing is, the funds have been more involved here in these meets than I've seen in quite some time.
And then that feeder cattle doing the same thing there with, we've just blown past those highs back in July. Okay, finally, over on the energy side, are you watching the energy markets as well, i.e. crude and nat gas?
Yeah, I'm watching the crude a bit. You know, we've been in a trade range on it, and I think we'll probably stay in the range here until after Trump comes into office there, you know, and then we'll see what his policies are going to be on energy. You know, he's talking about drill, drill, drill. We'll see, you know, whether that comes out, develops or not.
Yeah, that 78.66 seems to be a pretty sweet spot in there for crude oil. Dewey, great to see you. Thanks for popping by. We'll see you soon. Dewey Strickler, Ag Watch Market Advisors.